The old radio telescope stood silent against the starlit sky. Its massive dish pointed toward the endless darkness of space. Inside the control room, Jack Wilson was about to finish another quiet night shift at the Deep Space Listening Station in New Mexico. He sipped his cold coffee and watched the usual static on his monitors. Then everything changed. The signals came in waves, unlike anything he had seen in his 15 years at the station. At first, he thought it was a glitch. It wouldn't be the first time their aging equipment had played tricks on them. But as he ran the standard checks, his hands began to shake. This was real. "This can't be right," he muttered, adjusting his thick-rimmed glasses. The pattern was too regular, too structured to be natural. He reached for the phone to call his supervisor, then stopped. They'd probably laugh at him, just like they did at poor Bill, who claimed he heard alien music last summer. But the signal kept coming. 3 hours later, the control room was packed with scientists and officials. The regular pattern had been confirmed by 4 other listening stations around the world. As they worked to decode it, tension filled the air. Dr. Helen Reed, the station's lead scientist, stood in front of the main screen, her gray hair illuminated by the display's blue glow. "It's a message," she announced, her voice barely above a whisper. "And it's coming from our own solar system." The room fell silent. The message, once decoded, was simple but shocking. "To the inhabitants of Earth, our fleet requires assistance. We are stranded in what you call the Oort cloud. Please respond if you can receive this transmission." Within hours, the world's major space agencies were involved. The message had been sent using basic radio waves, technology that humans had mastered decades ago. But the source was incredible. A massive fleet of ships, each larger than anything humans had ever built, stuck at the edge of our solar system. More messages followed. The aliens, calling themselves the United Species Coalition, explained their situation. Their quantum drive systems had failed, leaving their entire fleet stranded. These beings, who had mastered faster-than-light travel and built ships the size of cities, were now asking Earth, a planet they had previously considered too primitive to contact, for help. In the United Nations emergency session, representatives from every nation watched the holographic display showing the fleet's position. The aliens had shared basic data about their ships, and the numbers were staggering. Each vessel housed thousands of beings from different species, and their combined population was larger than many Earth cities. "They've been watching us," announced General Roberts during the briefing. "Their messages indicate they've observed Earth for decades but considered us too." He paused, choosing his words carefully, technologically immature for formal contact. "And now they need our help?" asked the French representative, voicing what everyone was thinking. What could we possibly offer them? The answer came in the next transmission. Despite their advanced technology, the aliens couldn't solve their problem. Their engineers, used to working with quantum mechanics and artificial gravity, were stumped by what seemed to be a simple mechanical failure. They needed a fresh perspective, perhaps one from a civilization that still remembered how to fix things the old-fashioned way. As news of the alien fleet spread across Earth, reactions varied from excitement to fear. Religious leaders called emergency meetings, stock markets fluctuated wildly, and social media exploded with theories and speculation. But in the scientific community, a strange sense of pride began to grow. Humanity, the cosmic newcomers, might just have something to teach these advanced beings. The International Space Agency quickly formed a response team. They would need their best engineers, mechanics, and problem solvers. This wasn't just about helping stranded travelers. It was humanity's chance to prove they deserved a place among the stars. As the sun set over the New Mexico desert, Jack Wilson stood outside the listening station, staring up at the sky. Somewhere up there, beyond the visible stars, an advanced alien civilization waited for help from the very species they had dismissed as primitive. He smiled, thinking about how sometimes the simplest solutions come from the most unexpected places. The universe, it seemed, had a sense of humor after all. Captain Thomas Ray stood in the launch center, watching teams prepare Earth's largest space vessel, the Global Explorer. At 52, he had spent most of his life either fixing spacecraft or flying them. But nothing in his long career had prepared him for this mission. "Captain, the alien representatives will be arriving in 30 minutes, announced Mission Control through his earpiece. He straightened his blue uniform and touched the International Space Agency badge on his chest for luck. The chosen meeting point was simple: the International Space Station. The aliens had agreed to send a small shuttle, as it was the only craft they had that could safely approach Earth without causing panic. Their massive ships remained in the Oort cloud, too big to risk bringing closer. Through the launch center's windows, Ray watched military jets patrol the sky. Despite all the preparation, no one really knew what to expect. The world's governments had agreed on one thing: showing fear wasn't an option. The alien shuttle appeared exactly on time, emerging from the clouds like a silver teardrop. It was smaller than expected, about the size of a passenger jet, but it moved with a grace that made Earth's best aircraft look clumsy in comparison. As the shuttle approached the space station, Ray and his team watched through live feeds. The docking procedure was perfect, almost too perfect. When the airlock opened, Earth met its first aliens. They weren't what anyone expected. The first alien to enter was tall and slim, with 4 arms and skin that seemed to shift colors like oil on water. Behind it came 2 others, each different from the last. One looked almost plant-like, with bark-like skin and leaf-green eyes. The third moved like flowing water, its form barely solid. "Welcome to Earth's International Space Station," said Commander Wells, her voice steady despite the historic moment. "I'm Station Commander Wells, and this is our team." The first alien stepped forward. When it spoke, its words were translated by a small device at what seemed to be its throat. "I am first speaker. With me are Chief Builder and Life Keeper." Its voice sounded almost musical through the translator. "We appreciate your response to our distress call." The way first speaker said "appreciate" made it clear they weren't happy about needing help from humans. Chief Builder, the plant-like alien, moved forward to activate a hologram showing their fleet. "Our situation is critical," Chief Builder explained. 37 ships, carrying over 200,000 beings from 15 different species, all stranded. Our quantum drive systems are failing in ways we don't understand. Ray studied the hologram carefully. "Can you show us the drive systems?" he asked, trying to hide his excitement. This was technology humans had only dreamed about. The aliens shared glances that needed no translation. They were unsure about sharing advanced technology. Finally, first speaker nodded. "We will show you. But understand, these systems are far beyond your current technological level." As Chief Builder displayed detailed schematics, Ray noticed something interesting. Below all the quantum technology and artificial gravity generators were basic mechanical systems, joints, bearings, and structural supports that weren't so different from what humans used. "What about these supporting structures?" Ray pointed to the mechanical elements. "Have you checked them?" "Those are primitive components," Chief Builder dismissed. "The problem must lie in the quantum matrix or the field generators." Ray exchanged looks with his engineering team. They all saw it. Sometimes the simplest problems could disable the most advanced systems. It was a lesson every mechanic learned early. "First speaker," Ray said carefully, "would you allow our team to inspect these primitive components? Sometimes fresh eyes see things others miss." The aliens had another silent exchange. Life Keeper, who had been quiet until now, moved forward. Its fluid form rippled as it spoke. "We have watched your species, Captain Ray. You still use fossil fuels. You haven't mastered gravity. Your ships barely reach your own moon. Why should we trust your inspection?" Ray smiled. "Because sometimes the best mechanics are the ones who still know how to use a wrench." First speaker's color-shifting skin flickered rapidly, perhaps their version of surprise. After a long moment, It spoke. "Very well. You may inspect our ships. But understand this. If you damage our vessels, or if this proves to be a waste of time, there will be consequences." As Ray and his team prepared for the mission, he couldn't help but grin. Humanity's first real chance to prove itself to the galaxy would come not through advanced technology, but through the simple skills they used since the first tools were invented. Sometimes the old ways were the best ways. The journey to the alien fleet took 3 days aboard their shuttle. Captain Ray and his small team of engineers spent most of that time studying the schematics they were allowed to see. The team included Bill Cooper, an old mechanic who had fixed everything from tractors to space shuttles, and Maria Diaz, who specialized in structural engineering. "Look at this," Bill said, pointing to a holographic display of the quantum drive's support structure. His weathered hands moved through the blue light as he zoomed in. "See how these joints connect? Reminds me of the old Saturn V rockets." Maria nodded, her eyes focused on the details. Basic physics doesn't change, even for advanced aliens. These support beams still have to handle stress and strain. As their shuttle approached the fleet, everyone fell silent. Through the viewport, they saw the massive alien ships for the first time. Each vessel was like a floating city, gleaming under the distant sunlight. Even this far from the sun, their metal hulls shimmered with an otherworldly glow. Chief Builder, who had accompanied them, noticed their awe. "Each ship carries a different species," it explained, its bark-like skin creaking as it moved. "Our cultures may be different, but we learned to live together among the stars. At least until now." Their shuttle docked with the main vessel, where the fleet's leadership waited. The human team stepped into a massive chamber that seemed to stretch for miles. The ceiling was so high it disappeared into darkness above them. "Welcome to the Unity," first speaker said, its shifting colors reflecting off the metallic walls. "Our engineers will show you the drive systems, though I doubt." A deep rumble interrupted them, shaking the entire ship. Warning lights flashed as alien crew members rushed about. "Another systems failure," Chief Builder announced, its leaf-green eyes dimming with worry. "The quantum matrix is becoming more unstable." "Take us to the drive room," Ray requested. Now, the aliens led them through corridors that seemed to bend reality itself. The drive room was a massive chamber filled with technology that looked like magic to human eyes. Streams of light flowed between crystalline structures while alien engineers worked frantically at control panels. "There," Maria pointed. "The structural supports around the main drive housing. They're showing stress patterns." Bill moved closer, pulling out an old magnetic scanner from his toolkit. The aliens watched with what seemed like amusement as he held the simple device near their advanced technology. "Captain," Bill called out, his voice excited. "Remember the vibration problems we had with the Global Explorer's engines? Look at these readings." Ray studied the scanner's display. The pattern was familiar: harmonic vibration, something every engineer learned about in basic training. The alien's quantum drive was creating vibrations that were weakening the physical support structure. "Your quantum field is perfect," Ray explained to the confused aliens. "But it's creating a vibration pattern that's damaging these support joints, like a bridge collapsing from wind resistance or a wine glass breaking from the right musical note." Chief Builder's leaves rustled with skepticism. "Impossible. Our quantum calculations are perfect." "The quantum calculations are perfect," Maria agreed. "But you forgot about the physical structure holding it all together. Sometimes the simplest things can bring down the most advanced systems." To prove their point, Bill held his scanner against different sections of the support structure. Each reading showed the same pattern of harmonic stress. "We can fix this," Ray said confidently. "But we'll need to do it the old-fashioned way. Reinforced joints, vibration dampeners, and some good old-fashioned welding." First speaker's colors swirled rapidly. "You want to use welding? On our quantum drive housing? Unless you prefer to stay stranded out here," Bill replied with a gentle smile. Sometimes the best solutions are the simple ones. The aliens conferred among themselves, their discussion incomprehensible to human ears. Finally, first speaker turned to Ray. "Very well," it said, its translator barely hiding the mixture of hope and doubt in its voice. "Show us this simple solution of yours." Ray looked at his team, seeing the same determination in their eyes. They were about to repair the most advanced technology in the galaxy using tools that the aliens probably considered ancient history. "Let's get to work," he said, opening his toolkit. Sometimes being primitive has its advantages. The next week on Earth was unlike any in human history. Every major space agency worked around the clock, preparing for what they called Operation Bootstrap. Retired space shuttles were pulled from museums, and old launch pads roared back to life. Inside NASA's main hangar, Captain Ray watched teams load equipment into the cargo holds. Unlike the aliens' sleek technology, their tools were simple: welding gear, mechanical dampeners, and sturdy steel supports. Each item had been tested and retested. They couldn't afford any failures. "Seems strange, doesn't it?" Bill Cooper said, checking a crate of specialized welding rods. "Going to fix the most advanced ships in the galaxy with equipment that's barely changed in 50 years. Ray nodded, reviewing the launch schedule on his tablet. They had 20 shuttles being prepared, each carrying teams of Earth's best mechanics and engineers. The selection process had been unusual. They weren't looking for theoretical physicists or quantum mechanics experts. They needed people who understood the basics, who could fix things with their hands. "Captain," Maria Diaz called out, running across the hangar floor. "The test results are in from the vibration simulations. You need to see this." They gathered around her laptop, where a 3D model showed their proposed solution. The computer simulation confirmed their theory. Simple mechanical dampeners and reinforced joints could absorb the quantum drive's harmonic vibrations. "It's like putting shock absorbers on a quantum engine," Maria explained, pointing to the design. The aliens were so focused on the complex parts, they forgot about basic physics. Above them, through the hangar's massive windows, they could see other countries' spacecraft arriving. Russian Soyuz rockets, Chinese Long March vehicles, European spaceplanes. Every nation was contributing what they could. First speaker and chief builder, who had remained on Earth to coordinate the mission, entered the hangar. Their reactions to the primitive preparations were hard to read, but their concern was obvious. "These tools," Chief Builder said, its bark-like skin crackling as it picked up a wrench. "They are so basic. Our engineers use quantum alignment tools that can adjust molecules. Sometimes basic is better," Bill replied, taking the wrench and spinning it in his hand. "No complex circuits to fail, no quantum fields to align, just good old-fashioned mechanics." The alien leaders watched as humans continued loading the shuttles. Workers moved with practiced efficiency, checking equipment, testing tools, and running through procedures they'd practiced hundreds of times. "Your species continues to surprise us," first speaker admitted, its color-shifting skin displaying hues they hadn't seen before. "When we first detected your civilization, we saw only primitive beings burning fossil fuels. But now you see that sometimes the old ways have value." Ray completed the thought. "Every mechanic learns that fancy tools don't matter if you don't understand the basics." The preparation continued day and night. Teams practiced their procedures in underwater tanks, simulating zero-gravity conditions. Others worked in vacuum chambers, testing their welding techniques in space-like conditions. Every step was planned, every possible problem anticipated. On the final day of preparation, Ray addressed the assembled teams. Engineers and mechanics from 20 different countries stood before him, each chosen for their practical skills rather than their academic credentials. "We're about to attempt something unprecedented," he said, his voice echoing through the hangar. "Those ships up there, they're more advanced than anything we've ever seen, but their problem isn't complex. It's basic physics, the kind of thing we've been dealing with since we first started building machines. He gestured to the shuttles behind him. "We're not going up there because we're the most advanced. We're going because we remember how to solve problems with our hands and our minds. The aliens forgot about the simple things. We haven't." The teams cheered, their confidence boosted by the weeks of preparation. As they began boarding their spacecraft, first speaker approached Ray one last time. "Captain," it said, its translator struggling to convey its tone, "if this works, it will change how the Coalition views humanity." Ray smiled as he watched the last of the equipment being loaded. "It's not about changing how you view us," he replied. "It's about remembering that progress doesn't mean forgetting the basics." The launch countdown began. Operation Bootstrap was about to begin. The fleet of human spacecraft approached the massive alien vessels, looking tiny in comparison. Inside his shuttle, Captain Ray watched his team make final checks on their equipment. The spacesuits they wore were the latest Earth had to offer, though they'd probably looked ancient to the aliens. "All teams report ready," Maria announced from her station. "We've got 20 repair crews standing by." The Unity's massive docking bay opened before them, swallowing the human shuttles one by one. As they landed, Ray couldn't help but notice how their rugged, practical vessels contrasted with the sleek alien technology surrounding them. "Remember," Ray spoke into the common channel, "we stick to the plan. Basic repairs first, then we test the dampeners, just like we practiced." The teams deployed from their shuttles, moving with practiced ease despite the zero gravity. Each group carried tools and materials that would have been familiar to engineers from 50 years ago: welding gear, mechanical dampeners, and reinforced steel joints. Bill's voice came over the radio. "First inspection team in position. You should see this, Captain. The quantum vibrations have really done a number on these support structures." Through his helmet camera, Ray could see what Bill meant. The metal around the quantum drive housing showed clear signs of stress. Tiny cracks and warped sections that any experienced mechanic would recognize. The alien engineers watched with a mixture of curiosity and concern as the human teams began their work. Chief Builder hovered nearby, its plant-like form floating in the zero gravity. "Your methods are unsettling," it commented, watching Bill prepare a welding torch. "That equipment looks like it belongs in a history museum." "Sometimes old tools are the best tools," Bill replied, striking his arc. The familiar blue glow of the weld spread across the metal, joining the new support structure to the old. The work continued for hours. Team after team reported similar findings. The quantum drag's vibrations had weakened crucial support structures throughout the ship. It was a problem that any construction worker or bridge builder would have anticipated, but the aliens' focus on advanced technology had made them overlook these basic engineering principles. "Installing dampeners on Section 3, Maria reported. Her team was fitting specially designed shock absorbers between the quantum housing and the main support structure. The devices were simple by alien standards, just springs, hydraulics, and reinforced metal. But they were proven technology. The first test came 6 hours into the operation. Ray watched from the control room as the aliens powered up a small section of the quantum drive. The new dampeners hummed as they absorbed the vibrations, doing their job exactly as designed. "Reading zero harmonic resonance," one of the alien technicians announced, its translator barely hiding its surprise. "The support structure is stable." A cheer went up from the human teams. Even first speaker's color-shifting skin showed what seemed to be positive emotions. "Proceed with the full repair," first speaker authorized. "Install these dampeners on all ships in the fleet." The work expanded to the other vessels. Shuttle crews moved from ship to ship, repeating the same basic repairs. It wasn't glamorous work. Welding, fitting dampeners, reinforcing joints. But it was the kind of task humans had excelled at for generations. Near the end of the operation, Ray found Bill staring out a viewport at the Earth, barely visible as a distant blue dot. "Funny, isn't it?" Bill said, wiping sweat from his forehead. "All their quantum mechanics and artificial gravity, and what they really needed was a good mechanic with a welding torch. Ray smiled. Sometimes the simple solutions are the best ones. They were so focused on the complex technology, they forgot about the basics. The final tests began as the last teams reported their sections complete. One by one, the quantum drives powered up across the fleet. The dampeners performed perfectly, absorbing the harmful vibrations and protecting the support structures. First speaker assembled all the human teams for an announcement. Its skin shifted through colors they hadn't seen before as it addressed them. Your primitive methods have succeeded where our advanced technology failed, it admitted. Perhaps we were wrong to dismiss humanity as undeveloped. There is wisdom in remembering the fundamentals. Ray looked at his teams, tired, proud, and successful. They had just saved an alien fleet using technology that was centuries behind their rescuees. But more importantly, they had proved that humanity's practical approach to problem-solving had value, even in an advanced universe. Sometimes being primitive meant being practical, and practical just saved the day. A week after the successful repairs, the Unity's Great Hall hosted an unusual gathering. Humans and aliens sat together, sharing their knowledge and experiences. Captain Ray watched as Bill Cooper explained basic mechanical principles to a group of alien engineers, using nothing but a wrench and a bearing to demonstrate. "You see," Bill said, spinning the bearing in his hand, "sometimes the simplest parts are the most important. Everything complex is built on basic foundations." The alien engineers, who had initially dismissed human technology as primitive, now recorded every word. Their advanced devices captured Bill's simple demonstrations while Chief Builder added its own observations. "We became so focused on quantum mechanics and artificial gravity," Chief Builder admitted, its bark-like surface creaking thoughtfully, "that we forgot about the physical laws that make it all possible." Across the hall, Maria Diaz worked with alien structural engineers, showing them Earth's methods for testing material stress and fatigue. Her simple demonstrations using steel bars and pressure gauges fascinated the aliens, who had relied entirely on quantum sensors for such measurements. "Your methods are refreshingly direct," one alien engineer said, its crystalline form glittering as it handled Earth's testing equipment. "No complex calibrations, no quantum field adjustments, just pure mechanical understanding." First speaker approached Ray as he observed the exchanges. Its color-shifting skin now displayed warm, respectful patterns, very different from the dismissive colors it had shown when they first met. "Captain," it said, "we have been discussing your species' potential role in the coalition. Your people have shown us something valuable, something we have forgotten in our rush toward advanced technology." Ray raised an eyebrow. "Oh, and what's that?" "The importance of understanding the basics, of maintaining practical skills." First speaker's translator couldn't quite capture the emotion in its voice. "Many of our younger engineers can manipulate quantum fields but cannot repair a simple mechanical joint." The exchange of knowledge went both ways. Human engineers learned about alien technologies, though the aliens were careful not to share anything too advanced. They focused instead on principles and concepts, helping humans understand the theoretical foundations of their technology. In one corner, a group of alien scientists watched in fascination as human engineers demonstrated old-fashioned troubleshooting techniques. The aliens had become so dependent on diagnostic computers that the idea of using sound, vibration, and touch to identify problems seemed like magic to them. "Listen," a veteran mechanic said, placing his wrench against a pipe. "The sound tells you everything you need to know about what's happening inside. No computer needed." The aliens were particularly impressed by humanity's ability to improvise and adapt. During the repairs, human teams had modified their tools and techniques on the spot to deal with unexpected problems, something the aliens' rigid, procedure-based approach hadn't considered. "Your species has a unique way of thinking," Lifekeeper observed, its fluid form rippling with interest. "You don't just solve problems. You imagine new ways to solve them." As the day progressed, Ray noticed something important happening. The initial barriers between humans and aliens, the sense of superiority on one side and defensiveness on the other, were breaking down. Both groups were learning from each other, recognizing that true advancement came from combining the best of both approaches. "I never thought I'd see this," Maria said, joining Ray at his observation point. Aliens with technology centuries ahead of ours, eagerly learning about basic mechanics and engineering. Ray smiled. "They've learned what every good engineer knows. You can't skip the fundamentals. All their advanced technology is built on basic physical principles, the same ones we've been studying for centuries." First speaker gathered everyone's attention for an announcement. The hall fell quiet as its skin shifted to formal communication colors. "The Coalition has made a decision," it announced. "We will establish a permanent exchange program with Earth. Your engineers will help us rediscover the importance of fundamental skills, while we share appropriate technology to aid your development." The hall erupted in excited discussion. Humans and aliens alike recognized the historic importance of this moment. It wasn't just about sharing technology. It was about combining the best of both civilizations. Ray looked around at his team, seeing pride in their eyes. They had done more than just fix some ships. They had shown that humanity's practical, hands-on approach to problems had value, even in an advanced galactic civilization. Sometimes the best way forward was to remember the lessons of the past. 1 month after the successful repair mission, the alien fleet prepared for departure. The massive ships hummed with perfectly balanced quantum drives, their vibrations now safely controlled by human-engineered dampeners. On the Unity's observation deck, Captain Ray and his team gathered for the farewell ceremony. "Hard to believe it's only been a month," Bill said, looking out at the fleet. The old mechanic's hand still had grease stains from his final inspections. "Feels like we've lived a lifetime out here." The observation deck was filled with both human and alien representatives. The initial tension between the species had transformed into mutual respect. Even the most advanced alien engineers now carried simple human tools alongside their quantum scanners. First speaker stepped forward, its skin shimmering with formal colors. "Before we depart, the Coalition has prepared something for humanity." It gestured to Chief Builder, who activated a holographic display. The display showed plans for a new space station, a joint project between humans and aliens. It would be built in Earth's orbit, designed to serve as a center for technological and cultural exchange. "This facility," Chief Builder explained, its leaf-green eyes bright with excitement, "will combine your practical engineering wisdom with our advanced technology. Both our civilizations will grow stronger together." Maria studied the plans with professional interest. "You've incorporated our basic structural principles," she noted, pointing to familiar engineering elements in the design. "Yes," Chief Builder agreed. "We have learned that the path forward isn't about abandoning the basics for advanced technology. It's about building the advanced upon a solid foundation of fundamental knowledge." Lifekeeper moved forward, its fluid form catching the starlight. "We have also prepared data packages for your scientists. Nothing too advanced. We don't want to disrupt your natural development, but enough to help you solve some pressing problems." "Clean energy?" Ray asked. "Medical advances? And more?" First speaker confirmed. "But more importantly, we want to learn from you. Your species has something rare in the galaxy. The ability to understand complex problems at their most basic level and solve them with elegant simplicity." The ceremony continued as both humans and aliens exchanged gifts and knowledge. The aliens presented Earth with some of their simpler technologies, while humans shared manuals and training programs on fundamental engineering and problem-solving. "You know," Bill said to a group of alien engineers, "when we first got here, you all thought we were primitive because we still used wrenches and welding torches. Now look at you, carrying our primitive tools like they're precious gems." The aliens' translators struggled to convey their laughter, but their amusement was clear. One of them held up a combination wrench, its surface inscribed with both human measurements and alien symbols. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways, it said, perfectly mimicking Bill's favorite phrase. As the farewell ceremony drew to a close, first speaker addressed the assembled crowd one last time. Its skin displayed colors they had never seen before, perhaps indicating hope or optimism for the future. When we sent that distress call, it said, we expected either silence or useless offers of help. Instead, we found partners. Your species reminded us that true advancement isn't about abandoning the past, it's about building upon it wisely. Captain Ray stepped forward to give humanity's response. We came here thinking we were rescuing a stranded fleet. Instead, we found our place in the galaxy, not as the most advanced civilization, but as one with valuable knowledge to share. The departure sequence began. One by one, the massive ships activated their quantum drives, now running smoothly thanks to human engineering. The dampeners absorbed the harmful vibrations perfectly, just as they had in Earth's old combustion engines and heavy machinery. From the observation deck, Ray and his team watched the fleet prepare to leave. They weren't watching as primitive humans in awe of advanced aliens anymore. They were watching as equals, each civilization having learned valuable lessons from the other. So, Maria asked, what's next for humanity? Ray smiled as he watched the ships power up their faster-than-light drives. We keep doing what we've always done. We solve problems. We build things. We share what we know. And now we do it on a much bigger scale. As the alien fleet prepared to jump to quantum space, both humans and aliens knew this wasn't an ending. It was just the beginning of a new chapter in both their histories. Sometimes the best way to reach the stars is to remember where you came from.